So one of the top lessons I learned myself about listening and listening really leads to being a good communication, because listening is the number one skill, right? I got it. I guess this is one of the things, I was in a program, Landmark. It's a team management leadership program, pretty intensive program for a year. And part of it is I got to be a assistant coaching communication courses. And by the end of the year, it was pretty tough. And anyway, I did it pretty successfully, completed it, pretty good results on what I achieved in there. And also the coaching was excellent, helping to coach, really. That really taught me a lot. But one of the things the course leader told me, when they do this whole thing, we do this whole thing acknowledging each other at the end of the course and what we did well. So one of the things she told me was that I give the gift of listening to other people, which was the best compliment I ever heard from anybody. That was like, nobody ever told me that before. And what I essentially learned about myself is curiosity, being very curious about other person and what they're saying. And I think that's the lesson I've learned is like more I'm curious. And when I leave that curiosity, when I'm like, I think I know what the person is saying, that's when I am not good at listening. And that's the balance sometimes I have to keep, in the sense that do not think that you know what the other person is saying. If I want to truly understand and truly listen to the person, and that sometimes can be a balance, but that's the technique, right? So naturally, I feel like I'm curious. I've learned about that. I'm curious about everything, especially people, what they're saying, who they're being, what are they saying actually, what did they mean, what meant they say. That's all in good, but at times, like I said, it does get into the whole already know what they're talking about kind of deal, right? But anyway, the bottom line is, hey, anybody, what I wanted to share is if anybody is wanting to be a better listener, I think that's one of the top techniques or tips I can give as far as, being a good listener and thereby being a good communicator, because you're understanding that person, what the person is saying, is being curious of what is being said. So that means that will lead to asking the right questions and listening back. So that doesn't mean that everybody can, like I am naturally, I guess, more curious, like to understand, like to know things, different things, new things, whatever is being said or read, I read. That's what, that's already in there, but I think anybody can be, right? If you're interested in truly knowing, then be just curious, right? I think anybody can do that if you develop that curiosity. So it's not like an innate thing that somebody has to have. If you're curious, if you're interested in truly knowing, then be curious. Like, hey, what are they exactly saying? That's be curious. Anyway, that's my tip. That's my lesson, one of the top lessons. There are other things, obviously, I can share, but that's one of the easy, tip lesson I've learned that has helped me really well in understanding or listening to people, so hopefully that'll help somebody else who's trying to be a better listener.